Hey everyone, we're back with two-step equations. Up till now, we've been doing one step to solve for x by either adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. Of course, we do the inverse operation, but now there's two-step equations. So we need to know what to do first in order to solve it the best way so we can get the right answer. And make it easiest because you don't want to end up with a mess. So here's an example. 2x plus 5 equals 35. What you want to do, you want to get rid of the addition or subtraction first because it's the easiest thing to do. If we subtract 5 from both sides, we are left with 2x equals 30. Then we can divide. Always leave your division or multiplication for last. It's like opposite of PEMDAS. Do the addition and subtraction first and then do your multiplying and dividing. Divide by 2, and x equals 15. Wow. I guess I was in a hurry, that was really ugly. X equals 15. So it's honestly not difficult, you just have to know which to do first. Don't try to divide first, please. You're gonna have such a mess. Because if you divide, you have to divide by everything. It's gross. So always add or subtract first. And here's our real example. Our first example. 0.4x plus 1.2 equals 6.0, I'm guessing. I don't see the point very well. Be careful with your points. So we're gonna, of course, subtract first. Okay, so when you subtract, be careful. Some of you don't line up your decimals like you should. You're going too fast. You're like in a hurry. You need to be careful, be meticulous, line your decimals up. You're gonna end up with 4.8 if you do it correctly. So this is not your answer, because you still have something in front of x over here. So don't forget this don't forget the 0.4. Don't leave it out. Okay, so in order to actually get your answer, divide by 0.4, and you end up with 12. Okay, be careful with your decimals and use a calculator to divide decimals at this point. We're more worried about you knowing how to do the algebra than taking care of the decimal. You can do it on your paper if you want. I'm not upset about that, but be very careful with your decimals. Okay, example 2. Now we get to do fractions, your favorite. My favorite. Negative 2/3 x minus 1/2, yikes, equals 1/3. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do, of course, we're gonna add. Just because this is negative, this doesn't mean it's subtracted. It's multiplied because it's right by the x. So, plus 1/2, plus 1/2. No, it's not just going to be 1/5. We have to find a common denominator. So don't go so fast that you're like done in 5 seconds and you made small mistakes. So if we find a common denominator, it's 6. And we end up with negative 2/3 x. Don't forget about the negative 2/3 x equals 5/6. And now try to remember, how do we get rid of a fraction in front of an x? How do we get rid of that? We multiply by the reciprocal. We have to multiply by negative 3/2 because we want it to be positive, and 2 negatives when multiplied becomes a positive. So this ends up being positive 1 when you multiply it all out. Then we have to do it to the other side, and we end up with negative 15 over 12, which reduces to negative 5 over 4. And you can keep it improper. In fact, on your practice set, you're going to have to type the answers online. Keep it improper. Don't change it to 1.5 or whatever. If you have 17/2, just do 17 with the slash and the 2. I know it's not the best way to write a fraction, but that's the only way we can answer online. So please keep that in mind. Example 3. Isn't this easy? Yes, Mrs. Walker, this is so easy. We love it. Okay, negative 15. Now they changed it up on you. 3x plus 6. Now the x is on the other side. Still, we get rid of the 6 first. We don't need to, why would we get rid of the 15? We're trying to get x by itself, right? So bringing the 15 over here would bring more stuff by x. X wants to be alone. Let it be alone. So get rid of the 6 first. Minus 6, minus 6. Same signs, add the numbers, keep the signs. We end up with negative 21 equals 3x. Now, once again, your answer is not negative 21 because we have to divide by 3. And we end up with x equals negative 7. Negative 7 equals x equals negative 7. It doesn't matter which direction it's going. So if you can just know your steps, do the adding first and all that. And then here we go to example 4. Now they're throwing in an inequality. You do it the same exact way as an equation. 2x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so first thing we get rid of, once again, is going to be that 5. Add it to both sides. 2x is greater than or equal to 6. And then to get rid of the 2, we divide. X ends up being greater than or equal to 3. Now remember, when we graph this, not on an x and y plane, just on a number line, we have 0, we have the number 3. And if it's greater than or equal to, since it's equal to, we give a closed circle, and greater than goes to the right. So we can see that anything greater than or equal to 3 can satisfy this equation. And that is it. So if you need me, let me know.